Welcome back to State of the Workflow. My guest this time is Simone Giertz. Simone is an inventor who I first came across many years ago making truly wild projects on YouTube, and she has since gone on to create her own product studio, Yetch Studio. I really respect the work that Simone does and also how well she communicates what she makes and what she is interested in. On this episode, I wanted to follow Simone's journey for how one of her ideas becomes a physical thing. I want to look at the systems and the processes that she has in place to go from an idea to reality. I really hope you enjoy this episode. Simone, I want to get started by asking, what do you consider to be the most important device that you use to get your work done?
I mean, it's hard to compete with a computer, as boring as that is. But in terms of tools in my workshop, I would probably say my laser cutter for like rapid prototyping.
I'm more interested in talking about your laser cutter than your computer.
Yeah, no, I figure it's such a boring answer where you're like, okay, but if I actually could only pick one thing, obviously it would be my computer. But yeah, the laser cutter or the CNC is probably what I reach for the most.
Why a laser cutter? Like, what makes that better than, say, like a 3D printer or something for people like me who don't really know exactly what you would do with it?
I mean, a 3D printer is great, but the end product that you're going to get, depending on your 3D printer, is still going to be plastic.
Sure.
And I don't like plastic things. But what's cool with the CNC and with the laser cutter is you can make things out of wood or even metal. I mean, my process is very CAD based. So I often will make CAD models of things or collaborate, especially for when we're doing product development. I'll make a CAD model of a project and then we'll use the laser cutter or the CNC to make physical prototypes of it. I mean, a lot of people who build stuff have very different processes and will like start doing things with hand tools. And for me, it's always like, no, I want to figure it out first before I start prototyping.
I imagine there's a speed with something like a laser cutter that would be beneficial.
Yeah, sure. But I'm also an incredibly slow builder. So I don't know if I can say that.
It's not going to hold you up. It's fine.
I'm the real bottleneck. Yeah.
So before we jump into the big topic of this episode, which is the deep dive on your workflow, I would like for our listeners to get a little bit of a background about Yetch Studio. So this is a store that you set up and that you run. Why did you want to do this? What was the thing that made you decide you wanted to run your own store?
It's more than a store, which is why we changed it from being called Yetch Store to Yetch Studio, because we design everything and we have a factory networks that we use. I mean, that was one of the things that I thought was really important. I didn't want it to just be slapping logos on existing products or selling merch with my face on it. Like, I wanted us to actually make novel objects that don't exist in the world. The reason I wanted to start a product business on the side of my YouTube channel, there were a lot of different aspects that played into making that decision. One of it was wanting to build a way out of doing a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You know, or like the influencer business. I realized there's not really like a graceful way to quit. And I was like, I don't want to do this until I'm 60. What do I actually want to do? And also having a body of work of like, I have had a lot of projects that I'm like, oh, I think that this would really make sense as a product. So I had kind of a starting catalog of potential products. But then also, I mean, I was having really severe health problems in 2018, and that really made me rethink the business structure of running an influencer business because everything hinges on you being well enough to do work.
Yep.
And I don't want to live with that pressure, both from a health perspective, but also just from an emotional perspective. Like, I don't want to have 30 employees and knowing that if I need to go on a mental health break, for example, then they might lose their jobs. Like, that's just not conducive to a good life for me. So I thought, you know what, let's start a product business. That sounds like a great way to be happy.
But this is, I think it's becoming evident to anybody who enjoys or pays attention to YouTube culture. This is becoming more and more prevalent of like, what is the quote unquote real business that the YouTubers set up? I mean, we're seeing it all over, big and small, like people creating some kind of thing, whether it is a branded good to somebody else or something completely kind of created from the beginning. And as you mentioned, what you're doing is not create a merch. by any
Yeah.
stretch. Like, these are real products made by people that know what they're doing, and they're original,
Yeah.
right? And like, it's fun, but it's really hard.
It is very hard. And I mean, one of the reasons I really didn't want it to be merch is, I mean, one thing, I'm not really interested in making merch, but also I wanted it to be separate from me. Like, I wanted our customer base to not solely be fans of me, because then I'm still just building this thing that depends on me and the like relationship you have with your audience. With that said, I have reluctantly realized that the best marketing asset we have is still me.
Yeah.
Because initially I was like, I don't want to be on the website. Like, I can be on the about page, and Yetch Studio is supported by me, but it's not an extension of me. But then we were like, no, we have a founder that can talk in a somewhat engaging way about the products, and it's coming from a very personal place. And that's one of the leg ups that we might have compared to other brands. So it's like, why would we not tap into that? And I've been like, but I don't want to. I wanted to like decommission my face.
Well,
that was the whole point.
It's less though, right? Like, when you're talking about the fear of like, what if I can't be around for a while? Like, you're not launching new products on a weekly basis like you might have needed to do with influencer content. So I totally understand what you mean. Like, you end up back in that same spot, but it is a different spot.
No, it definitely is. But yeah, it's been a funny realization where I was like, this was exactly what I wanted to get out of. But if that's the price I pay to get to make products and like run a design studio, then I'm happy to pay it.
So I want to take a look at start to finish how a Yetch Studio product becomes to be. And I think a great example of this would be the coat hinger, because it touches on everything, even from like going to Kickstarter and stuff like that, which I know not all of your products would do, but so I feel like this will probably tell its entire life cycle. In general, though, where do your ideas come from? And obviously, you are a very creative person. You have ideas for all kinds of things. A lot of these ideas are quote unquote for bad robots, but also you obviously have ideas for good products. Where do these ideas tend to come from for you?
I mean, the funny thing is that the robots and the products kind of come from the same starting problem. Of finding little inconveniences in my everyday life and being like, how can I do this in a different way? And for robots, it was like, what's the most ridiculous way I can solve this problem? And then for Yetch Studio and for my YouTube channel now, it's more like, how can I solve this differently or in a way that I haven't seen before? But I mean, for me, a lot of it, honestly, is just looking at the objects in my house and being like, what do I wish that this object could do that it's not currently doing? And kind of trying to add functionality to everyday objects without taking away from their like core function. So I think a really good example of that is my laundry chair. So I would always have half dirty clothes thrown on a chair in my bedroom.
Who doesn't?
And it's like the clothes that they're supposed to be there because I could wear this t-shirt another time. I should not fold these pants and put them back into the drawer because then they'll start getting stinky or whatever. Like, but they're not dirty enough to go in the hamper. But it looks really messy to have them just thrown on a chair. And I really like the idea of like, instead of designing for the perfect day where you have no clothes on your chair, like design for the normal day. And instead of trying harder, just be like, oh, can I actually incorporate this into a piece of furniture design and make it not look messy? So I made this chair that basically has like a lazy Susan rail that you can pull forward, hang those clothes on, and then kind of tuck it behind it. So that's just like looking at an eyesore in my bedroom and being like, oh, is there a way I can do this differently? And I mean, I just started thinking I need a bread box. And then I'm like, okay, should I build a bread box? Like, that's a pretty boring project. I could just make a bread box, but like, could I make it do something differently or something extra? And they're like bread boxes that have like little cutting stations attached to them. Okay, but then like, what else? Does it also like put butter on your bread? Does it also do this other thing? Like,
is it also a toaster?
Oh, honestly, not bad idea.
There you go.
It could be incorporated like all in one. So it's like, basically you push the bread out, you cut it, and you have like a little built-in knife, and then it just takes it to a toaster.
That doesn't sound like a fire hazard at all. So when you have these ideas, Where do you store them? Where do you keep them?
I have a long list on my phone.
Okay, so they go in like the Notes app or something?
I just have a to-do list called Ideas. It has 127 entries on it. Let me scroll down to the lowest one and see how long it's been there. 2020, so not that long.
Okay.
Is the oldest one.
How long would you allow an idea to kick around for? Will it stay there forever if you're going to come back to it? Or is there a point where you're like, I'm never going to do this?
No, I let it stay. I keep them on there. And sometimes I'll be like, that's kind of a mediocre idea or concept. And I'll put it on the list. And then 2 years later, I'm like, oh, actually, that's great.
What does that tend to be? Like if you've got an idea on the list, or even if it's like a new idea that you have, what is the thing that will be like, okay, I'm going to progress this to be a product? So we can look at Coathinger. Like, what about that idea where you were like, not only am I going to make this, I'm going to make it for people to buy it? Like, what is the thing in those ideas that makes you feel like, yes, this is a product?
I mean, so for those of you listening who don't know what the coat hanger is, it's a coat hanger that folds in half. So you can put your clothes on it and then fold it in half so that it hangs half of the distance from the wall. So if you have like a really shallow wardrobe or a narrow hallway where you can't fit a coat rack, this kind of you trade depth for width.
Mm-hmm.
That one was a little bit different because as soon as I had the idea, I saw the product potential.
Yep.
And we didn't make any content about it until we released it because I was also like, I feel like this is a really powerful idea. And I'm worried that if I put it out in the world, somebody's going to beat me to it. But that happens very rarely. And I like wanted to make sure I got a patent on it before releasing it. But usually the way it happens is that I make a YouTube video, but then we also see the reception of the project and the YouTube project. And like, are people interested in this as a product? And then we'll put it in our design for manufacturing pipeline. But for the coat hinger, it was something that felt achievable to make. Granted, it was a lot more complicated than I thought it would be. But yeah, I just thought it was one of those things where I was like, oh, I love these. It's really solving a problem for me. And I think it could solve problems for other people too. I was really obsessed with that project. I remember we started working on it and I almost immediately roped in my engineer, Stu, and we worked on it over Christmas and just kept on making so many different versions and trying to figure it out. So we were just really like, it's almost like you get a brain bug and you can't let it go.
They're usually the best things though.
Yeah, it's a frustrating but enjoyable place to be in. And yeah, we worked on it for 3 years before releasing it, which is wild.
When you're in that kind of initial phase where you're trying to choose how you think it might look, I have no doubt that you jump straight to a level of design, which I want to get to. But before that stage, do you look for inspiration in things? Do you go through books? Do you go online? Do you have any kind of places that you look? Or do you tend to go from your heart, your mind, like what you want to do?
I will sometimes scroll through Pinterest, but I feel like that rarely leads anywhere.
Yep.
I'll definitely scroll for design cues. So, for example, I made a version of a mechanical fruit bowl and we're working on a redesign of it. And then it's like I need to choose the materials for it and kind of the shape and the form. And for that, I'll be like, oh gosh, what do I want this to look like?
Right.
And I'll definitely scroll for inspiration, but not so much for product ideas because also I want the things to be something that you haven't seen before.
Yeah.
So once I have an idea, then I'll scroll and be like, okay, has anybody else made something like this? And if it is something that already exists in the world, then I kind of lose interest. I do have a lot of design books. I really love having design books because it makes me feel like a professional, but I almost never open them. They're just looking pretty on my shelf.
Yeah, I have a small bookcase full of design books, and I'm like, look at me.
Look at me. Yeah.
Look at me.
I know all about it.
So when you begin the design process, what is that? Are you sketching? Like, where does it actually begin?
So it depends on the complexity, but usually the way it will happen is I will make a really bad sketch in my notebook, and then I will hold it up to the webcam and talk it through with my engineer, Stu. And we will start trying to talk about how this is going to work, especially if it's something that we're developing into a product, because design for manufacturing, he's the one who makes the final models and all the engineering documents
Right.
and everything. But he's also just an amazing refiner of ideas. I call him my rock tumbler because sometimes I'll like throw out something really crude and he mulls it over and he's like, what if we did it like this? But then, I mean, for some projects, I'll start sketching in materials. So I recently made a project that's a coffee table, and I kind of had an idea of the mechanism. And then I made a prototype in plywood just to kind of verify the measurements and the height of it and the way that it functioned. And then based on that, I sent measurements to him and he started making a model in Fusion 360.
Okay.
That's the CAD program that we use, and we'll pass it back and forth.
Would you try and build these things on your own first, just so you can get a feel for them? Even the manufactured products, like you would have your own version before you would send them to a manufacturer for a sample. Like you would prefer to have your own first.
So usually the way it happens is that I make a YouTube version.
Yeah.
That I'll build on my own, often design on my own and do everything. And then we're like, okay, this is product potential. Stu will take it. I'll send him measurements and everything. He'll make a Fusion 360 model and also multiple versions in his workshop. And then we present what we think is a golden article with a bunch of caveats of like, this needs to be manufactured in this way and all the engineering documents. And we send that to the factory. And that's kind of when it's over to them. So we have suggested manufacturing processes, and it's a collaborative effort with your manufacturer or with your factory to be like, okay, what tools do you have? Because we're going to design the product accordingly. And with that in mind, they take that and they make their own version of it, send it to us. We evaluate it and test it and vet it, send feedback documents over to them. And then it's kind of back and forth until we have a product that we think is good enough.
The manufacturing process, working with factories seems incredibly complicated. I'm assuming there's a lot of back and forth digitally.
It's so relationship based.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing is it's really networking. And I mean, we're really lucky because one of our teammates, Avis, who actually used to be my accountant, she's now my head of manufacturing because she's from Hong Kong but lives in Australia. And she was like, yeah, my like family is in manufacturing.
You're like, why didn't you tell me this before?
Yeah, no, totally. And she just started asking around and has now taught herself so much about manufacturing and supply chains. I mean, we have dozens of factories that we work with because every product requires multiple factories. And she has relationships with them and will like sit through dinners with our 3PL and do all these things. I think initially something that was tricky was that we kind of ended up using our factories as an R&D department. So we would send them a project and then they would make versions of it. And then we would have a bunch of design changes that we would do. And now we try to make sure that we have the way that we want the product to function and look fully fleshed out. And then the only thing that we're feedbacking is how they've kind of brought that design to life.
They don't want to be testing for you, right?
No, we're all spring chickens in this. So we weren't sure what like level of finished a design should be. And we would also keep on like, I'm a chronic mind changer. So I'll just be like, oh, but what if we did it like this? But now we have a good grasp of like how stable the design needs to be. Granted, you always are going to end up wanting changes, but like we really need to have a very clear idea of what we want the product to be before we ask a manufacturer to make a sample.
This episode of Cortex is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform designed to help you stand out and succeed online. Whether you're just getting started or scaling your business, Squarespace gives you everything that you need to claim your domain, showcase your offerings of a professional website, grow your brand, and get paid all in one place. You can make the most of Blueprint AI, which is Squarespace's AI-enhanced website builder to let you quickly and easily build a site bespoke to your business. You just input some basic information about your industry and goals, and we already know and love Squarespace for their professionally designed and award-winning templates, so however you get started, you have beautiful design design options with no experience required. This is easily my favorite thing and has always been my favorite thing about Squarespace. They have templates that are made for so many types of businesses or websites, but they're also incredibly, infinitely customizable. You can go in with no experience needed, no coding requirements. You can just go in, drag and drop, and change things that you need from wonderful drop downs, fonts, colors, sizing, everything. I love it. Once your website is available to the world, you want it to be found. Nobody wants to build a beautiful website for nobody to find it. So that is why it's awesome that Squarespace optimizes every website to be indexed with meta descriptions and auto-generated sitemap and more, so people will find your site through search engine results. You will be discovered fast with their suite of integrated SEO tools. Go to squarespace.com/Cortex to sign up for a free trial. When you're ready to launch, use the offer code Cortex and you'll get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. That is squarespace.com/Cortex, and the offer code Cortex. You'll get 10% off your first purchase and show your support for the show. A thanks to Squarespace for their support of this show and all of Relay. How hard is product naming?
Naming? Oh my God. Usually not that hard, except for the latest product that I released, which was a baseball cap that's made completely out of hook and loop fabric, so Velcro.
Legally distinct Velcro.
Yeah. And it's so infuriating. So we called it the Velcro cap, and all of our packaging says Velcro cap. And then it wasn't my head of content, Anna. There was like one day, like 2 weeks before we're going to launch it, she's like, "Hey, you guys, I think Velcro's a trademark." And I had not thought about this, or like
Yes.
none of us had thought about it. And it's like, oh my God, I can't believe that we walked into that. So anybody who bought one is going to get a box that says Velcro cap, but please don't alert
Limited edition.
the Velcro Corporation to that. So that one was really tricky because it's like usually the names, we want them to be very descriptive, or yeah, like all of our names are really descriptive. It's the screwdriver ring.
Yeah.
Like you can get a pretty clear idea of what that is. But for that one, like the most descriptive name you could give a baseball cap that's fully made out of Velcro is Velcro cap.
Yep.
We do this meetup every month, and I pulled the attendees to see like, oh, what do you want it to be called? And like had a bunch of naming suggestions. But then what I settled on was patch cap, which is not a great name. It doesn't really explain what it is and what it does. And I think that the product has suffered because of it. But also a name is also just a name.
Yeah, at a certain point, the name is just the name of the thing. It's a weird phrase, but like at a certain point, the name doesn't matter anymore. Like once you've gotten the story out and people understand what it is, you could call it anything. I mean, yes, Velcro cap is obviously the perfect name right, for that product. Like there's kind of no two ways about it, but you can't do that.
Yeah. And it is, I mean, a name is one of the ways you can explain what a product is, but you have a lot of other ways that you can explain what the product is. So you just got to lean more heavily on that.
Is a product name important to you in design? Like, do you like to have a name for an item for it to feel real?
No, not really.
No, it doesn't matter to you so much?
It's mostly just like, oh, what should we refer to this as internally? I think that's one of the tricky things with Yetch Studio is that all of our products, like they're unique and do something that you don't expect them to do. And they require more explanation than a lot of other products. You know, like the coffee table I was mentioning, what's different about it is that it mechanically, you can switch between it being a coffee table and an ottoman. And I've just been calling it the coffee table ottoman, which is not a great name.
Hey, but it tells you what it does, you know?
Yeah, I mean, kind of. But it's like, yeah, how do you explain that in a name? And like, as somebody who goes on your homepage and only sees a little square of it, then how do you explain what that is really clearly? And I think in some way, it's like the way I started my career has helped with that, because initially when I was making robots, I would just make GIFs. That was the like main piece of content, was making a GIF of this machine working. And it kind of trained me to like, how do you make a product that's novel, but easy enough to explain that you can explain it in like 5-second looping video without audio?
That is a proving ground.
Yeah. And I think the thing I always tell myself is like, nobody's going to care that it also has Bluetooth. Like, it needs to be novel, but simple enough that a GIF could explain it.
I would like to talk to you about Kickstarter. So you've done 2 Kickstarters, I think. One for the Coat Hinger, which we spoke about, and then one, I think, for your first product, the Everyday Calendar. Why choose Kickstarter for a product when you don't always? So there are some instances where you feel like that is the right move. What makes you decide to go down that route?
So for the first product, the Everyday Calendar, now known as the Everyday Goal Calendar, speaking of names, I think it really made sense because it was the first one I was going to do. I didn't have an existing infrastructure for making products, and I needed initial funding for it. It's also a really expensive product to make. So for me to kind of expense all the stock, like I just didn't have the money to do it.
There's kind of no way that someone could go from zero to being able to sell that product. Like, it's a large frame size calendar that has electronics in it. Essentially, you would every day you touch a day number and it will illuminate to show that you've completed whatever it is your goal is. That's physically too large to just do.
Yeah, it's a very ambitious first product to launch. And I don't think I understood how ambitious it was, but which is, the blessing of being a novice. So yeah, I think for that was probably the only way I could do it was through Kickstarter, because also just the thought of like fully developing this product to finish, but also buying up stock to then sell. And there was just no way I would be able to do that. And I also thought that from a marketing perspective, it's better to do a Kickstarter campaign. And that was kind of the thinking. So after I'd done that, I swore off ever doing Kickstarter campaigns again. Granted, like, our community was so sweet and they were so understanding. I think we ended up being like a year late, but it was for good reason.
The reason's always okay. The reason's
Are
mostly good,
yeah.
right? Like for being late.
I think the choice that you're in is, we could ship on time, but we could ship a product that's not as good as it could be.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was definitely my fault for being a beginner and having bitten off more than I could chew without realizing.
I mean, it's inherently the whole point of the platform, though.
I know. But still, I feel bad about it.
The issue of the creator and the backer of like, I don't think it matters whatever Kickstarter will attempt to do, they will never be able to break the idea in people's heads that this is not just a pre-order mechanism.
Yeah, but then after I'd done that, I kind of swore off ever doing Kickstarter again, because if there's anything that makes your anxiety go absolute rampant, it's having people have paid $300 for a product that is running late and that you're still not fully sure is going to work. Like, you're pretty sure it's going to work, but not fully sure it's going to work. You know, what happens if somebody hangs it in the bathroom or does all these other things? Like, there's so much stuff you can't really test for.
And I'm assuming at the same time, not to bring your anxiety back, but like, you're spending the money, right? Like, as you're going through this process, because that's part of why you raise it. But what that means is it's not returnable, essentially, which is the case anyway. But again, is like not how people feel.
No, having to return $600,000 would bankrupt me.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot at stake. And as somebody who really, really cares and is terrified of disappointing people, it's not a nice position to be in. But then we had the Coat Hinger, and I was once again in the same position where I was like, yeah, we could kind of do this. The stock is going to be expensive because it is an expensive product. But also, I think the reason I decided to do Kickstarter was because I was like, I feel like it's the better marketing vehicle.
Yeah.
Like, a lot of news outlets will write about Kickstarter and crowdfunding campaigns, but they're not really going to write about like, oh, somebody released this product on a store.
That's weird, right?
Yeah.
It is weird that happens. I'm not really sure what it is about Kickstarter that makes people want to write about it in the way that they wouldn't in other ways.
Feels more newsworthy in some way.
But why?
I don't know.
I think it's become that, and we feel that way, but I don't understand inherently why here's a thing you could spend money on and maybe get is more newsworthy than you can get this thing now.
Yeah. I don't know. I think if I was a bigger corporation, then you could probably do a big marketing blitz and make people write about it. I was mostly thinking of it through a marketing perspective. But then also what you don't take into account, because the coat hanger did amazing with organic marketing. I think it has, like, over 100 million views for, like, an Instagram reel that I made, which is crazy. Like, I've been to parties and people are like, "You're the coat hanger lady." And I'm like, "Sure, that's me.
If that's what my career's taken me, that's what I'll be.
I'll take that over shitty robot lady." That's the new one. Yeah, I'm moving laterally. But what you don't take into account is that the cost to get people to buy into a Kickstarter is a lot higher than the cost to get people to buy a product that they're gonna get in, like, a week or 2.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, we could put a bunch of marketing through raising money to our Kickstarter campaign, but it's going to be a lot easier to convince people to spend money once it's a product that we have in stock with reviews. So we actually got to a point with the Kickstarter campaign where we were like, we're not going to do any paid marketing because it doesn't make sense to be spending money to convince people to do this when it's going to be cheaper to convince people to do this in a couple of months once we have it in stock.
And by that point, the story has been really well refined, right? Through going through the Kickstarter process, I expect it refines the way that you talk about the product much more by the time that you end up getting there.
Yeah, I think it gives you kind of a sandbox for messaging about it, and it also gives you an opportunity to connect more deeply with your customers and for them to feel a part of the process. But I mean, with that said, I think we're still struggling to figure out how to market the coat hanger. Like, I think it's such a good product. I love it. Like, I swear by this, and I think it opens up a lot of possibilities for people. But I think the way that we manufacture it has ended up being too expensive. Like, our margins are not great on the product, so we can't really lower the price. And it's really high quality and, like, it's a beautifully engineered product, if I may say so myself. But people are really reluctant to spend that amount of money on coat hangers because they compare it to standard coat hangers, which is like, we can't compete to that or to the price of that because it does stuff that standard coat hangers can't do, and it's just different. But also because it requires people to reconfigure their closet. So you need a special rod to hang a specific distance from the wall. And there's just like a lot of hurdles to get people to do it. But then also we immediately, I think it was like 2 weeks maybe before copycats started popping up that are like all plastic, terrible quality, and who like stole our images initially, but then switched it out for their own bad AI generated ones once they'd figured out what their version of it was going to be. So now it's like you Google foldable coat hangers and we're not first. And the other ones, the copycats, are so much cheaper than ours.
It's the eternal struggle of being able to try to explain to your potential customers why a higher quality product is better.
Yeah, and I think it's just tough because I often feel as well that there are a lot of brands who are like tooting their own quality horn, or they're like, yeah, you're getting this for exclusive, but like you're really just paying for the brand.
Mm.
And for us, it's like, yeah, we put a lot of thought into it. And we're also doing it on a team of 4 people.
Yep.
And it's like made with so much love and care and dedication. And we're literally running the business in a way that the goal is just for it to be successful enough and us to earn enough money that we can keep on doing this.
Yeah.
Like that's the entire stated goal of the business is like, I just want to make sure that we make enough money that we can keep on doing this because I love this work and I care deeply about it. And I don't want people to pay for the brand. Like I want them to pay for the product and to support somebody who's doing it independently. And yeah.
This episode is brought to you by Fitbod. If you're looking to change your fitness level, getting started can be tough. That's why I'm pleased to let you know that Fitbod is an easy and affordable way to build a fitness plan made for you. Everybody has their own path through personal fitness, which is why Fitbod uses data to make sure they customize things to suit you perfectly. It will adapt as you improve, so every workout remains challenging, pushing you to make the progress that you want. All of this information, along with your body, experience, environment, and goals, they're all stored in your Fitbod gym profile. This will track your muscle recovery to make sure that you're avoiding burnout and keeping up your momentum. Fitbod will build the best possible workout for you with exercise science in mind. They have analyzed billions of data points that have been fine-tuned by certified personal trainers to make sure that your muscles are working together. If you overwork or underwork muscles, it can negatively impact your results. Fitbod tracks your muscle fatigue and recovery and designs a well-balanced workout routine for you. I also love that this means I'm not doing the same exercises every day. I find that to be really demotivating, and it means that I don't end up with the results that I'm looking for because I get bored of the program. But Fitbod makes sure that doesn't happen. The app is super easy to use, and it integrates with your Apple Watch, Wear OS smartwatch, and apps like Strava, Fitbit, and Apple Health. Personalized training of this quality can be expensive. Fitbod is just $15.99 a month or $95.99 a year, but you can get 25% off your membership by signing up today at fitbod.me/cortex. So go now and get your customized fitness plan at fitbod.me/cortex. One last time, that is fitbod.me/cortex for 25% off your membership. Our thanks to Fitbod for the support of this show and Relay. So you mentioned the understandable stress of a Kickstarter campaign closing and then the time period until it delivers.
Mm-hmm.
How does that stress compare to, I bought a bunch of stock, now I need to see if people want it? Like with the patch cap, for example.
Yeah. The patch cap is easy because it's not that expensive of a product. And it's usually, we try to only buy the amount of stock that we know that we can afford. Another example is that August 7th, we released the spool table, which is a really expensive product to make. And it's the most expensive product that we've ever sold. And I mean, that's scary, but also we only made, I think, 300 of each color. So it's still an amount of stock that I know that even if that like ended up rotting on the branch, I could take the impact of that cost. But, you know, right now I'm more just terrified of like, what happens if the packaging doesn't hold up? What happens if there's a moisture issue or something unforeseen? And, you know, there's so many ways for things to go wrong.
Feels like a more logistically complicated product with size and weight and scale.
It's logistically complicated. We're doing US only to take some of the
Makes complete
complexity
sense.
out of it. Yeah. Both from like a shipping perspective, but also just like we have 3 different colors, and doing that 3 variants combined with different plugs is like, we can't do that. Like that's way more than we can handle as a small company. But yeah, so it's definitely scary. But I think what I fall back on, you know, I used to be really, really terrified of any customers being upset. And now what I fall back on is we are really doing our best for everyone to be happy.
Yeah.
Like we're deciding to lower the price of one of our products because we actually have enough margin on that one. And for the customers who bought it at full price, we're going to send them gift cards with the like price difference. So like we're really going above and beyond to make sure that people are having a good experience, and that's all you can really do. But then some people will be upset that we had this customer that was upset and wanted a refund because they had ordered a puzzle and they said that the box was messed up, which absolutely, if the puzzle box is messed up, you should get a refund. But then they sent photos and it wasn't the puzzle box, it was the shipping box that had one fold on it. And we were like, okay, actually, if the shipping box successfully delivered the product intact, we're going to have to count that as a successful shipping.
Yeah, it did what it was supposed to do. Otherwise, we would just stick your address on the puzzle box.
Yeah, like that's supposed to take the beating. And it wasn't even badly messed up. Like it looked totally fine.
But it doesn't matter if it is.
Yeah.
I don't imagine you're doing a ton of design to the shipping boxes.
A little bit, yeah. I mean, some of them for our more complex products, we do a lot of design to the shipping boxes because it has to like securely hold it. And we are also really trying to produce packaging without any plastic. So it's all cardboard and like paper pulp that's molded. So we do actually put a lot of design into our packaging boxes.
That's why they can have a fold in them and not destroy the puzzle box, you know? You put the effort in. Do you hear a lot from your customers?
I personally don't.
Okay. So you have somebody managing support?
Yeah. So we have a full-time support person who does that. I mean, I hear from customers because they send me DMs.
They're in your comments and stuff like that.
Yeah. And they post on r/Simone Yetch on Reddit.
Oh no, don't go there.
It's honestly, I ended up making a post there just the other day because I'm like, I'm so scared to look at it because it's like walking into a room of people talking about you,
Yeah.
but they give me no reason to be scared because they're all really sweet.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so it's way less bad and scary than it sounds. But yeah, so things do come to me, and I mean, I'll hear about it on a higher level, and I'll be on our customer support Slack channel and check that. But I think for myself, I don't need to be the first line of responders to that. Like, I need to know if there are escalated issues. But for kind of my mental health and focus, it's like, yeah, I know that we're dealing with it the best we can, but I don't need to be in all of it.
I mean, you've been online for a long time, creating content
Yeah.
for much longer. You've been creating products. Has that helped you deal with feedback? Do you feel like you have a way of dealing with positive, negative feedback?
I mean, it's been 10 years now.
Is that enough time?
No, I have very little callus. I don't have thick skin at all.
Yeah.
And I think I have somehow just been algorithmically blessed with really nice comment sections.
Good.
Like, I have not gotten any like hate campaigns against me or people being really vile in a way that feels like they're really trying to get to me. Like, it'll be mostly impersonal stuff. But yeah, and honestly, I don't think I could be on the internet if it was rougher than that because I am so scared of people being angry with me.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like my anxiety loop in my personal relationships as well, where I'm like, oh my God, is my mom angry with me? And like my mom in 34 years has like pretty much never been angry with me. She's the best. But I'll still be like, oh no, did I do something wrong?
There are so many creative people that I know, myself included, who feel this way. Why do we choose this job? Like before we started being online, we're like, oh, I'm worried people don't like me. And then you end up, maybe you need that. I don't know.
Yeah, because I think we also really want to be liked.
Yeah. That's probably it.
Not wanting to be disliked and really wanting to be liked is two sides of the same personality trait, I think.
Do you find it hard to separate yourself from your projects? Or do you feel like they're a part of you, your identity?
Oh, they're definitely a part of my identity. My job is deeply a part of my identity. But I have really good work-life balance. I feel like I've just developed a really good way of relating to work and kind of leaving it at the end of the day. I don't work too much. I don't ruminate a lot about work in my off time. And yeah, of course, sometimes things will get to you and you'll carry it with you in your body. But I have found a really good balance. But it's been work to find that.
Right. So that's a muscle you've worked on. Like that's taken effort and conscious time.
Yeah. And I think honestly being sick really helped because I was really sick and I was forced to rest and kind of step away. And it helped reprogram what it means to be good because before being good was constantly working and pushing myself really hard. And when you're recovering from an illness, being good is really listening to your body and making sure that you have enough time to rest and take care of yourself. And that's kind of been a permanent change since I did that. That's been really positive.
I mean, you learn something that's more important, right? Like ultimately.
Yeah. And I think also it's like just knowing that me enjoying my work is really important for the success of the business. Like it's what it hinges on. And if I stop enjoying what I'm doing, then the quality of the projects that I do is really going to suffer, the quality of the content, the quality of everything, and the happiness of my team. Like it is my job to make sure that I take good enough care of myself that I'm actually enjoying it because I need to enjoy it to do it well.
This episode of Cortex is brought to you by Factor. Summer often means having a fun but busy schedule. When it comes to eating before heading out again, you might only have a couple of minutes. This is where Factor can help you out. You can eat smarter with tasty chef-prepped meals that are dietitian approved and delivered right to your door. And now, with more than 65 weekly meals, you can pick what's right for you and have even more ways to fit in a real meal no matter where the day takes you. With Factor, you can enjoy more variety and more meals. Choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp at no extra cost. And support your wellness goals too. Enjoy GLP-1 friendly meals and your new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good for you fats. And you can savor those global flavors. For the first time, try Asian-inspired meals with bold flavors influenced by China, Thailand, and more. From more choices to better nutrition, 97% of customers say that Factor helped them live a healthier life. Feel the difference no matter your routine. I'll tell you that Factor's quality, that's what sets them apart. The food that you get from Factor boxes is amazing. It's super tasty. All of the ingredients are high quality and it makes it feel good while you're eating it. Also, take it from someone who is a new parent. Having a meal that you can just chuck into the microwave for a couple of minutes and eat is fantastic. But what you really want is for it to be good for you and good quality, and that is what Factor does. This stuff is a lifesaver. Eat smart at factormeals.com/Cortex50off and use the code Cortex50off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for a year. That's the code Cortex50OFF at factormeals.com to get 50% off plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. The offer is only valid for new customers with the code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. Our thanks to Factor for their support of this show and all of Relay. We've touched on marketing a little bit because I guess it is a thread that runs through a product's entire life. But the marketing creative for Yetch Studio, it's very fun, it's very engaging. It feels like you. Are you involved in this part of the process as well?
Both yes and no. So less and less, which is what I want.
Yeah.
Like initially, I wrote everything. I did all the concepts and stuff because there's a very specific voice that I wanted to be in and a specific feel where it's like we're fun and playful, but at the same time, like have a lot of respect and reverence for our products. But all of our email marketing is wild. I love it.
I'm on the list, and it is something to behold. Like, I love it. It's great. It's so weird, and I want to open your emails. It works, right? Because it's like, what is this one going to be?
I mean, we've started doing more of the like retention marketing or where it's like, you have an abandoned cart, which is maybe not the most exciting stuff. But like the big marketing campaigns that go out are really weird. Like one of the recent ones that we did was an everyday calendar. So we made a sexy calendar, like kind of like a fireman calendar, but for our everyday goal calendar. And it's just photoshopped like parts of like the everyday calendar as a firefighter, as a construction worker, as a pool boy. I just wanted to be worth opening. And that's all a guy named Luke, who's in Australia. And he's just has the best brain. And he comes up with the ideas and he makes a version of it. I leave notes on it. And usually it's a no notes situation on my end. So that's a huge relief that there's somebody who can like kind of hold the voice of the brand better than I can.
Yeah.
And then for all of our content, I have my head of content, Anna, and then my editor, Billette, are doing a lot of our like Instagram reels and doing all the shoots and the product photography and all of that. And I'll like write captions or give feedback to it, but it has less and less to do with me. And then earlier this year, I hired a chief operating officer who's taken over a lot of the logistics of the company and just like is the one putting together our town halls and like the company-wide emails that are like, this is what our numbers were. And now I'm at a point where I have time and I'll be like on a Wednesday looking around being like, oh, what should I do today? Like everybody's working. I don't have anything on my list. I guess I should tinker or like think of a new project, which is a very new position for me to be in because before it was like to get the ball rolling, it was all me having to push it.
Yep.
And now it's not. And it's like, I am really stoked and proud of that because it's kind of the future that I imagined for myself and that I hope to build. And I'm like, oh my, wow, I'm living it. And I have people who are better at doing the jobs that I used to do than I am.
You mentioned that the team was 4, but it sounds like more from the way that you're describing it.
It's 4 full-time employees on the product business.
Yep.
and then 2 that are splitting their time between the product business and the media business, so the YouTube channel and the influencer stuff.
And do you work with contractors too, or is
Some
everybody?
contractors, but mostly the marketing, the guy who writes our emails is a contractor, but yeah, pretty much all employees.
How do you work together? Are you all distributed?
We're remote, most of us. So there's 2 of them in-house, and then Stu, my engineer, is in the UK. Katie, my COO, is on the Gold Coast in Australia. Avis is between Shenzhen and Melbourne. Our customer service rep, Stefan, is in Serbia.
This sounds like it would be impossible to do an all team meeting. How on
It's
earth? Like, what is it,
tricky.
like a 20-minute window?
Somebody's always going to suffer. No, because we're literally hitting every time zone. So I know Avis gets up really early for like our dev meetings with Stu, my engineer, and me. But we're kind of making it work. And I think what's nice about it is that I do want my workshop to be a bit separate because we're also filming content there. So like I can't have too many people in there because it's kind of this space that we need to have set up for shooting videos
Yep.
and for doing stuff. And also I don't want too many people looking at me as I'm doing stuff, ironically enough. It's been really good. But I think, somehow I had imagined that I wanted to have 50 employees and been like, that's the size of the company I want because then I can still know everybody's name and what they're doing. But now I'm like, no, if we can do this on like maybe 8 employees, great. Like there's nothing that I feel that we can't do now that I want to do.
This is the benefit of being in the time that we're in to create a business like this, because you don't need to employ warehouse staff.
Yeah.
There are so many parts of a business which you don't need to fully control, and you also don't have to anymore. And so, you mentioned 3PO earlier. It's a third-party logistics company, so you can have, we will ship all of our stuff there, and they will do it. And then you can bring in a company that can help you place ads on Instagram, and like they can do that. You don't have to bring everything in, and like that is what makes it possible for. Like if you had to have 50, 100 employees, maybe this wouldn't be achievable.
No, it wouldn't be possible. Yeah, because I need like a fifth of this person.
Yeah.
A third of this person.
Yes.
And you can do that by contracting things out. It's a good time. Even though the tariffs are tricky. It's still a good time to be in this business.
Yeah, that's rough. But I mean, how easy is it to make stuff in America? Right? Like so simple. Right? Like it's just you just go down the corner and there's a manufacturing warehouse.
No, I mean the thinking that we have, I mean the situation is still stabilizing and changing. So we haven't like made any big shifts to adjust yet because it's like we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But my line of thinking is it's a lot easier for us to change the market than where we manufacture. So if the tariff situation keeps on being unfeasible in the States, then we'll just open a 3PL in Europe and start marketing it there instead. Because that's an easier adjustment to make than moving our manufacturing to the States. Like there's just no way.
I've never heard anybody explain it in just exactly that way before. And like that is a very interesting way of thinking about it. Because yes, once you found your manufacturing partner and you're making a product that works, having to change that is like the worst possible thing that can happen.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, well, you got to start all over again. And then you've lost all of the profit you've built up in the product at that point. Because then you have to start paying off R&D again, and you just go right back to the beginning.
Yeah.
How do you and the team work together? Do you use like tools like Slack? Like how are you communicating?
We use Slack, and Notion has become our new like kind of files hub in Google Drive. Yeah, I mean, we have one monthly town hall, which is our all hands on deck meeting where we're kind of going through what's new this month. Everybody's like a little bit of a show and tell of everybody being like, look, I made this, or I worked on this, or like, here's photos from our factory, or here's how well this email campaign did. I thought that working remotely would be a second tier level work relationship, and obviously it's different from like having somebody that you see every day, but it's really nice. And it's also kind of great for things to be able to happen on different time zones because they'll be like, I'll write something at the end of the day and I get up in the morning and that person has already actioned it and it's done. So there are some benefits to it. And we do try to meet up as a company now and then, or like people fly out to the States and just have like a company retreat or something like that. So it's kind of working out. But I mean, a lot of the people I've worked with in some capacity for the better part of a decade. So it's people that we know really well. And there's a lot of trust, which I think also is required for working remote.
So we're kind of at the point of the workflow, the life cycle of your product now that we're going through. We're into the point now where you're finding kind of like the long tail success of it. So you've got it on your store and you're selling it as a part of the portfolio. How do you manage that part? Like, what are you doing to work out how much stock to order? Like all this kind of stuff. Like, how do you think about and manage a product that is now just a permanent part of the lineup? It's not a part of a big splashy Kickstarter campaign or anything anymore. It's just available in your store.
We're still kind of finding our pace with that. Like this year has been the first year where it feels like we're a wheel properly rolling. Whereas before it was just like, we're running out of this, we should do this. But it's like we know what the lead times are on the different products, and we're keeping an eye on like, okay, we think we're going to run out of everyday goal calendars in November. Let's start working on a new batch now. So I think we have found a pretty good rhythm. But I mean, with that said, it's what 4x our sales against last year, this
Oh,
year. So yeah.
how?
I mean, a part of it was I released a jigsaw puzzle that did surprisingly well. I think I'd ordered 1,000 of them and we ended up selling 12,000
Wow.
on like the first week, which was like,
Wow.
what? Yeah. But also we've just hiring my editor who's enabled us to increase our content output has helped a lot. Hiring the chief operating officer who's kind of across everything has helped a lot. We also moved to Shopify from another platform and like redesigned the whole website and relaunched it. And I think it's just performing better. So yeah, I think we're just maturing.
Is that just because of like the tools that they have? Like you mentioned, like the cart emails, abandoned cart emails and stuff like that. Like I guess
Yeah.
once you plug into an infrastructure like that, it all just kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's given us a lot more granularity in terms of data and looking at what's working and what's not working. So yeah, I feel like we're finally starting to hit a really good stride, and I'm stoked because it's been, it's tricky to run a business for 3 years that's like losing a significant amount of money every month and being like, "No, I believe in this. I don't think that I'm not being just stupid and stubborn. Like I think that this is actually going to be a good investment in the long term," and now being like, "Okay, I think we can actually make this work."
So I assume you were funding it, right? Like when it's losing
Yeah.
money for it to continue, the YouTube channel was paying for the business to exist.
Yeah. We took out no investment or anything. So it was all just taking money from the YouTube channel and investing it into the product business.
Has the product business changed the way you think about the YouTube channel?
Yeah. I mean, it's given it new life in a way where I was like, "Ugh, I don't know what to use this for." Like, I'm not really excited about the prospect of making YouTube videos. Even though it is fun and I do enjoy it, I really do. It can also just get tired when you've done it for a long time and you're like, "I'm not really having interest." But this is like, but now I have something that I care really deeply about, and also the YouTube channel is giving me an excuse to constantly try new things and to build new projects.
Yeah.
And it's kind of the perfect combination. So I think it's just such a good constant prompt to be like, "Okay, what can I think of this month?"
I really enjoy the videos that you make about running this business. A particular highlight is when you went to a trade show. This was Coat Hinger, right? I think
Uh-huh.
the way that I remember it is you went to a trade show and basically just stood on your own for the day.
Yeah. And very awkward, and we almost did no sales, and it was not a good return on investment, but we learned a lot of things from it.
Now, I've been to these kinds of product trade shows just as like going to see the products that are there and
Mhm.
just see what people are doing because it's interesting, and I find them to be incredibly awkward environments
Mhm.
to be in. Like it is very strange to walk down a corridor and like everyone wants to grab you. It's a very strange feeling.
Yeah. I can enjoy trade shows as a visitor, but I don't enjoy talking to people and having an ulterior motive and being like, "Let me tell you about this product." But yeah, we're doing some more ones that are for wholesale where we're going to show our wider catalog of product and try to get them into physical stores. And I think that makes a lot of sense.
Looking at the kind of the two areas of your life, like the content creation and the product creation, over the next 10 years, kind of where do you imagine you're going to be? Do you have somewhere you want to be? Do you have somewhere you think you'll be? Like, what does that look like?
I mean, the funny thing is that I am, for the kind of the first time, so infuriatingly content. Like, I love my job. I love my house. I love my team. I love my dogs and my cat. I love my boyfriend. I love my family, my friends. Like, everything is really good. And I'm so deeply enjoying the projects that we're doing. And I just I'm like, yeah, let's just keep on doing this. I would want to expand the team a little bit just to kind of take some stress off of some of our team members. I think it would be great to have like a full-time salesperson probably to manage wholesale once we're ready for that. We have some products that are coming out that would be really great for wholesale, and have a full-time marketing person in-house probably. I think would be really great. But, I started the product business before I really needed it because the YouTube channel was still doing well and like the YouTube industry was doing well. Now, I don't know if you've felt that as well, but like the YouTube or like influencer market has really matured a lot and the prices have gone down a lot. So we're at a point where my product business is finally gonna make a small profit this year. And my YouTube channel is making about 50% of what it made 2 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, we see that with podcast advertising, right? Like, that's our biggest thing.
Yeah.
It's like, it's just 10 times the amount of work for like 75% of the money.
Yeah. I mean, for part of it, I think the world is a little bit scared of spending money right now for good reasons. But yeah, it's also just the market has matured.
Yeah.
Before, pricing was very vibes based. Brands were like, yeah, we want to spend this much money on this creator because we like their vibes. And now it's like very much like, how many views did you have on your last 5 videos? And we pay this much. So I feel like it's become a lot more organized in a way that's made my prices suffer a lot. But it's kind of what I hoped for, was that like the YouTube would kind of business would taper a little bit, and then that the product business would become the main focus and the main moneymaker, and the YouTube business would kind of live more in support of the product business than the other way around. And I think that is what's happening naturally.
There's a kind of mercy for your own ambitions in the industry changing, right? Because if the YouTube channel kept growing, it would make it harder and harder for you to be able to put the efforts into the thing you actually want to put your efforts into.
Yeah. It's great that my YouTube channel isn't doing as well as it used to. It's actually an amazing thing. I'm so happy about it. No, but it's kind of what I hope to happen. And it's making the trajectory that I want it to happen make sense also business-wise and not just emotionally. So I'm hoping for that to be more. But I think I'll keep on doing some sort of YouTube. I mean, I think kind of the thinking is, if I have kids, I would probably stop doing YouTube, at least for a year or two, but keep on doing the product business, because I can keep the product business afloat with like an hour of work a day.
Yep.
Just to give people approvals. And we have like, that's something that can happen so independently of me. And this is also why I built the product business, because I wanted to be able to step away and not have everything have to hinge on me. So it's, is there any bigger health problem than having a child?
This episode of Cortex is brought to you by Sentry. AI systems are complex. Even when the code looks right, things can still go wrong. Prompts fail, tools time out, outputs don't render as expected, and without clear visibility into what happened, debugging becomes slow and reactive. You're stuck guessing where it broke and why. Agent monitoring from Sentry helps untangle that complexity. It links together agent behavior, user experience, and system logs, giving teams a full picture of what's happening under the hood. So instead of chasing symptoms, you get straight to the root cause. This kind of stuff sounds fantastic to me. It seems like AI tools are just becoming more and more commonplace, especially in development. You don't want to introduce a bunch of bugs into your code because of it. AI agent monitoring from Sentry really sounds like a great tool to help if you're going for that kind of hybrid approach. But in general, one of the things that I love about being a user of apps is I want them to work well. I don't want to be hitting bugs. And I love that Sentry is there monitoring developers' code and can help them out when things are going wrong and make sure that they're not spending so much time trying to dig out and find the causes of issues. Sentry will help find them for them. Don't forget, you also have Seer, Sentry's new AI debugging agent on hand as well. It's like hiring an engineer who already knows your entire code base. Seer finds the correct root cause 94% of the time and can even provide merge-ready pull requests based on that analysis. Try it free at sentry.io and tell them that we sent you. They have a free dev plan, and listeners of this show can use the code Cortex and sign up for 3 months free of their team plan and 150,000 errors. That's sentry.io, sentry.io. Use the code Cortex, or you can just click the handy link in the show notes. Our thanks to Sentry for their support of this show and Relay. I have learned that you can tell a lot about somebody and the things that they prioritize by looking at their home screen of their phone.
Yeah.
And so I asked you to send me the home screen of your phone. The first thing that jumped out to me is you have lots of messaging apps.
Oh, do I?
We have the standard messaging app, iMessage and SMS. We have WhatsApp, and we have Facebook Messenger. Is this one of those scenarios where my assumption will be you have friends all over the world and you can't force them all into one application?
I mean, I mostly keep contact with people on the iMessage app.
Yep.
The Facebook Messenger is just a legacy leftover. Like, yeah, there's like a thread with my cousins, maybe.
Yep.
Like my childhood best friend is on there, maybe. And then the WhatsApp is where my neighborhood chat is on. So like all my neighbors.
Yep.
With a couple of block radius is on there. So that's mostly where I'm chatting with them of like, hey, there's like somebody throwing rocks at the sky on this street. Watch out.
I noticed that other than Instagram, there is no social media on your home screen. So like no text-based social media stuff, Blue Sky, Twitter, that kind of stuff. Are they on your phone at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
They are. I am mostly on Threads, honestly. I should probably be on Blue Sky more. But I also, I brick my phone. I have the brick app.
I have one of these. I was heavily marketed on Instagram. I bought one because I was interested, but I haven't set it up yet.
It's honestly one of the few things that's really worked for me.
So this is it's a little device that you touch your phone to, and then it's using a selection of parental controls and device management tools that Apple built in, but they've built a great app to basically then lock your phone down and remove access to a bunch of apps, right? Until you retouch it down again. So explain to me, where does the little device live? Like, what is your relationship to that?
It's on my fridge, and especially on weekends or evenings where, it's hard because being on social media is a part of my job. So I can't fully delete them and I can't fully like have a dumb phone, which is tempting. But times where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to get stuck in a scroll hole right now. I'll just tap my phone to the brick. And what's really nice about it is that it takes the willpower out of it. Where I feel like a lot of other stuff of like, don't look at your phone, don't look at your phone, don't do this, don't spend time on Instagram, requires active willpower on my end. But when I brick my phone, it kind of shuts that debate off. And just the tiny hurdle of having to go to my fridge and tap my phone to it is enough that I don't do it unless I have to. But yeah, I should brick probably the New York Times app as well because I spend so much time playing Sudoku, but also I love Sudoku and maybe it's like good for my brain or something.
It's better than being on Instagram, right? Like that's for sure. Like if you're going to spend some time doing something on your phone, that's probably the thing. I did a similar but maybe more extreme version, I don't know, like 6 months or so. I got another phone and I've made that my work phone, and that's where all the social media is. And it's in my backpack. And so for me, I have to go to my backpack, open it, and take it out. Like it's just too much aggro. And then, as I'm sure you experience, once you do this for a long enough time, it does actually start to just take away the feeling. Like sometimes I realize it's Sunday night and I didn't check social media since Friday because it's like I'm just not doing it anymore. And it works great. I love it.
Yeah. I feel like it's interesting how like small hurdles can change your behavior. I was hanging out with Tom Scott, another YouTuber, the other week, and he told me he was like being allergic to my cat. And I was like, do you want some pills? And I brought out allergy pills. And he's like, oh, it's so crazy to see pills in a bottle because in Europe, you don't have it because there was all this legislation that you had to have where you pop them out of the pill packets.
Yeah.
Because it reduced the amount that people committed suicide buy pills significantly.
I didn't know that was the reason.
Because just the hurdle of having to pop out pills was enough to reduce it.
Because you
Whereas if
can't
people
just
can
pour a
just
handful.
like chug it down. Yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's interesting. These really small hurdles can have drastically different behavioral outcomes. And I think that that's, gosh, this is a very grim comparison. But yeah, that's what the brick does for my phone. It's not an insurmountable hurdle by any means, but it does make it easier. Can I pitch 3 productivity hacks that I have?
Oh, yes,
that are
please.
to-do list based?
Absolutely.
I feel like this is a good context. One is whenever somebody recommends a movie or a book, I write it down on a to-do list.
So this is in the app To Do that you have on your phone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have everything there. I also have a packing list that I've had there for probably 7 years.
Yep.
It's a to-do list of everything I've ever needed to pack. So when I'm preparing for a list, I'll just go through all my checked items and I'll uncheck the ones that I know I need. And then as I pack them, I check them. And it makes sure that I never forget everything. Like I don't have to like reinvent my packing list every time. And then the third thing I do that's also like to-do list based, but I have it in my notepad. I do this both for work and for chores. Well, I write a really detailed list of chores, for example, on my Sundays are my big chore days. And it'll be like, I need to empty the trash. I need to clean this up from the front yard. I need to water my plants. So like really bite-sized tasks. And then I just roll dice to pick which one I do. And that for some reason makes me so hyper focused on like, I'm only going to do that one task. I'm going to finish it fully before I start something else. So I get to tick that box. And like the randomization about it makes it so that I don't cherry pick the tasks that I want to do and like kick the can on the ones I don't want to do. And it just, I don't know, it just makes me into an absolute beast of getting through so much stuff. And it's all the stuff that you've like passed for the last 2 years. And you're like, oh, I should really get to that someday. You write it on the list and you end up just doing it.
So this is not going to be enough for you, I think, but I thought that you might like it. There's a company I came across a while ago called Gladden Design, and they make a paper version of this. So they have a notebook which has 1 to 6, and they sell a pencil that is a D6. So you roll the pencil, and then it gives you the number, and then you do the task from the 1 to 6. And that's
great.
It's like really fun. But so I guess
same.
you're doing, I'm assuming, like double dice kind of thing going on. You got like a huge list of stuff. That's really great, though.
It makes it so fun. Like I actually look forward to chores.
What I like about this, and why I think I'm going to bring this into my life, is part of the problem when I'm doing the house chore stuff is there's just certain things that I just don't want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But if the dice are telling me I have to do them, then, well, I have to do them. Like, this is the order in which they have come. So I've given over to the dice at that point. So that's what I'm going to do.
It turns off the executive function.
Yep.
Like you don't have to be the one and the internal debate. And then you just become a cog. And you're like, okay, I'm going to do this thing. And it's really satisfying because you get to tick the box and do all the things. And then at the end of the day, you're like, wow, look at how much stuff I did. So
that is a great productivity hack.
It works for me. Or also that if there's something I don't want to do where I'm like, I need to start packing or I need to clean this thing, I'll be like, okay, I'm going to pick a song that I really like. I'm going to turn it on. I only have to do it for the duration of the song. And then the trick is that at the end of the song, something else starts playing and you're like, oh, now I'm started. But like you have to tell yourself, I'm only going to do it for the duration of the song that I really like.
Thank you all for listening. I really hope that you enjoyed this conversation with Simone, and I wanted to thank Simone for all of the time that she gave to talking about that and sharing her story. If you enjoyed this show and you want more of it, I have great news for you. On More Text this time, I talked to Simone about how she deals with rip-off products. There are people that go out there and take her ideas and sell them for cheap and even use her imagery. We want to talk a little bit about that. If you want to hear this, you can sign up for More Text at getmoretext.com, where you'll get ad-free episodes, including the whole back catalog and tons of additional bonus content. If you have any questions or follow-up, you can always send them in at cortexfeedback.com. And if you've enjoyed this episode, why don't you share it with a friend? It would mean a lot to me if you did. I want to thank you all for listening, and I'll be back soon.